Okay, let's carry on. Now, this is for those black people out there who want to know the real history about black people within Samoa. Now, I will carry on. Chapter 3, the story of Tialiku, another Melanesian. And I'm just putting a little highlight so then if you guys want to read the book, it's called Tamaoli. But some of the things that I found out while reading this book is that, number one, that it was not just men, Melanesian men, that was brought into Samoa. He says that he remembers there were quite a few Melanesian women who were working on the plantation, cutting copra in the dryer. So that shows you that there are a lot of Samoans, men and women in Samoa, whose ancestors or who have connection to people of Melanesia. And if we carry on, he also said that the dark side of being under the German rule was the harshness of the European overseas. Here you can see exactly how these white people treated Melanesians no different from African Americans. They would whip them with cattle whips and they would lock them up. So he pretty much saying the same story as the other Melanesian in part 1. And a life under German rule was very boring for the Melanesians. Lukui said association with Samoans in nearby villages was strictly forbidden. Doesn't that sound like something Europeans did to African Americans? And since there were no churches on the plantation, so there was segregation in Samoa. And no, it was not whites with Melanesian, it was white Samoans for Polynesians and Melanesians. Now, Samoans seem to have been attracted to the Melanesians for material reasons. Melanesians having access to much desired goods such as biscuits. And it's the same as it is today. I mean, if you want to attract a Samoan woman, just have money. Just be able to feed them. And you'll probably find yourself a Samoan wife. That easy, I see. Now, he also said that he remembers that when laborers took strolls along the roads adjoining the plantations in the evening, the Samoans would call out rudely to them. So it shows to you what I keep saying, that Samoans were racist in the very beginning. The girls were the worst. This is what he said. He said the girls were the worst. They used to take out their handkerchiefs and cover their noses when we passed them, saying that we smelled. Sometimes they will call out when they saw us that it was going to rain because they could see black clouds approaching, meaning us black boys. Sometimes our boys would get so angry that they would hit Samoans who teased them, especially the young boys. This would make the Samoans angry, and some would complain to our boss on the plantations, but he would defend us. So there you go. There's such a thing as good white people. He also said that the police and the Marines were everywhere trying to arrest Mao supporters. Some of the Melanesians were ordered to join in search parties, but Likoi was not among these. So here you have a good example of why a lot of Samoans were befriending the Melanesians, because under the New Zealand rule, you have to understand that the Mau are mainly Samoans who supported the Germans. So when the New Zealanders came in, they had the Melanesians to do their dirty job. So right here, you can see how Samoans were trying to befriend the Melanesian men. Now we go to the story of Malapasi Tavita. So if you see anyone with the last name Tavita, most likely they have some sort of Melanesian ancestry. That's a good thing about looking at the last names. This is where your ancestors come from. Now, I highlighted this because I wanted to show that Europeans had no problems intermarrying and intermixing with Samoans. White officers of the ship, the recruits, tended only to talk with those with the same language as themselves. And Mala says that when the captain tried to talk to them, the recruits would laugh loudly, even though they could not understand him. The captain was Danish, and he had what? A Samoan wife. So there you go. There was no such thing as segregation, even during 1929, near 1900s. Again, if we keep another highlight, we were not allowed to befriend any Samoans, and they were forbidden to visit the plantations. So again, you see the attitude of the Germans. This is the Germans, okay, not the New Zealanders. And he again said the same thing as every other Melanesian plantation worker, and he said that the Europeans were, how do you call it, were very tough on the Melanesians. Same thing. And here, the New Zealanders allowed the Tamauli. So when the New Zealanders came in, they gave Melanesians more freedom than the Germans. The Germans were pretty much like the Americans, I guess. The New Zealanders allowed the Tamauli more freedom of movement, enabling social visit between plantation. Each plantation took in turn to host a big feast and the public holidays. On these occasions, each Melanesian ethnic group put on dances from their home areas. Noted that the Melanesians performed dances on the plantations for European audience, and these, the Booker Boys, were the most popular, according to the mother, because everybody laughed when they danced their costume. During the Maori Rebellion of the 1920s, Mala found himself in an awkward position. On one hand, he secretly sympathized with the contributed money to the Maua. On the other hand, he was among the black boys ordered by the New Zealand authorities to hunt down Samoans, Maori leaders hiding in the bush. So here you can see a very good example of how the New Zealand used the Tamaulis, or the black people, the Melanesians, to do their dirty work. This is the reason why they pretty much gave the Melanesians a lot of freedom. Sunday Umu. So here you see a good example. While the other went fishing in the lagoon, the sight of the happy laughing and singing, Tamauli fishing on the reef, the smoking rising from the plantation, Umu deeply offended the Samoans. According to Mala, confirmed the Samoan opinion that Melanesians was uncivilized. So here you can see that what I keep saying, that once you do not embrace the Fa'a Samoan way, how the Samoan or the Samoans would actually look down on you if you did not do things according to the Samoan way. So this is why I keep talking about how Samoans look down on the Melanesians and black people. But as you can see here, he and his wife lived in a small community of part Melanesians. So you can go to Samoa and you'll find that there is a village that's named after the Melanesian people. And this village is called Songi Village by the large depot. So if you go to Songi, those are the ancestors of the Tamauli. So a lot of part Melanesians are in the Songi village. And I'll just leave it there, and I will continue the rest of the story another time.
Work here. So in a way they helped make Samoa. I don't think the plantations are in use much anymore, but at this time Samoa would have been quite an economic powerhouse in the Pacific. Well, obviously because the Germans, the British, the Americans, the New Zealanders